Nike. We all have our opinions of Nike. I feel like at one point, wasn't Nike hated on or almost canceled because of the whole child labor thing? Do they seriously do child labor? I don't know. But we're gonna see their success story. Yay! Yeah, we're gonna watch a video. And hopefully, this was a guy who built this brand as well. Hopefully, they struggled. I am just looking for struggle. So, let's just get right into it.
Nike, the world's most popular and biggest sportswear company. In just over 50 years, one man's dream of better shoes turned into a global corporation worth over $100 billion.
Only 50 years. Some companies take like more than centuries to grow. Like Canon, that took at least a century to grow, I'm pretty sure. I don't know. Anyway.
Today, we're going back to the earliest days of Nike to figure out how that magic happened and what the ingredients were to their success.
You know it's been a long time because the picture is in black and white.
Success. This video is brought to you by Audible.
We don't need sponsorships. What is with Audible getting every single YouTuber to do sponsorships? Oh my gosh. Would it be funny if that was the intro to a sponsorship that I was doing for Audible? Okay, 1962.
The year is 1962, and Phil Knight had just graduated from Stanford.
That is the coolest name ever. Phil Knight. Like, you could put it together. It's like Phil Knight, and he was a knight, or he likes the nighttime. I don't know. It's got a ring to it.
As any business graduate can tell you, becoming an entrepreneur is difficult if you don't have any good ideas.
It's difficult nonetheless, but moving on.
Phil had one. He was a distance runner back in university, and in one of his business classes, he had written a paper proposing the following idea. Phil had seen how Japanese cameras had replaced the dominant German cameras in the American market.
Yeah, Canon, let's go!
Whether Japanese shoes could do the same to Puma and Adidas, which were at the...
He did not just say Adidas. Adidas! Not Adidas. I love Puma shoes though. Puma shoes are so nice! And yeah, it's Adidas.
time extremely popular in America. And by the way, that is indeed how you pronounce Adidas. But back to...
I'm not about to throw hands up in here. It's Adidas. It's Adidas. Everyone says Adidas here. It's not Adidas. What the heck?
Phil. After writing that paper and graduating, Phil became obsessed with his idea about bringing Japanese shoes to the USA. Of course, he didn't actually own any Japanese running shoes, and the few he had seen were brought stateside by soldiers who had been stationed in Japan during the occupation after the Second World War. But this lack of exposure only reassured Phil that he had stumbled upon a great opportunity. He knew that to take advantage of it, he'd have to establish contact with a Japanese company and negotiate to import their goods to America, both of which were actions he had exactly zero experience with. But, as is befitting of the man who later created Nike, he went ahead and just did it. In November 1962, he flew over to Japan like a tourist and just started exploring. In the beautiful city of...
Nice! So he had no experience. He just went to college. He was like, I got an idea for you. And he didn't have that thing where it's like his parents owned a tailor shop and he had a passion for it and would rather do that than play ball with his friends, and that's how it started. Like, always like some childhood passion, but he was like, I got an idea. And I don't know how to do it, but I'm gonna do it anyway.
In November 1962, he flew over to Japan like a tourist and just started exploring. In the beautiful city of Kobe, he stumbled upon a shoe store that caught his eye. It belonged to a company called Onitsuka Tiger, and the shoes they made...
Those shoes in the back look cool though, like that design, okay.
...made were for their time very high quality. So much so that Phil was determined to...
Those shoes... Okay, first of all, the top right one, Adidas. And the ones with the lines, they kind of look like Puma. You know? Like, Puma has, like, the one big streak, but there are some shoes with Puma where they have, like, multiple streaks, just not, like, with the two, I think. But yeah, that's kind of interesting. Did everyone just get, like, copied off of this shoe brand? The shoe brand just disappeared.
Import them back home. He presented himself as an American shoe distributor and arranged a meeting with the company's founder. Phil made up a company name on the spot and offered to become Onitsuka's distributor in America, a proposal which, probably to his surprise, the owner actually accepted. With nothing more.
Dang! So he was like, okay, I got this idea, I'm gonna go to Japan and I'm gonna make an offer, and it was accepted. How? My mind is not comprehending how freaking easy it sounds for these people. How?
More than his confidence, Phil had become the exclusive distributor for Onitsuka Tiger in the USA. He received his first shipment of 12 pairs of Tiger shoes in 1963, and he started selling them out of the back of his car at every running track he could drive to. Obviously.
That just sounds so sketchy. Like, he shows up to track meets with the back of his car, like, yo, you want some track shoes? I can hit you up, you know? Like, well, okay, good for you.
Obviously, though, his strategy wasn't scalable, so he went to the only person he knew who understood more about running shoes than he did, his former coach at the University of Oregon, Bill Bowerman. Now, Bill was easily one of the most famous coaches in America at the time.
Dang. So he not only just did stuff, he actually had links to these people. Like, he had links to this coach easily? Like, dang.
He had, in fact, trained multiple Olympic athletes.
This just seems so easy.
He liked the Tiger shoes so much that he wanted to partner up. Thus, in January 1964, Bill and Phil incorporated Blue Ribbon Sports, each investing $500 into it. They spent all that money on their first order, which at $3.33 a pair amounted to 300 pairs of shoes. The shipment came through in April 1964, and thanks to Bill's connections, it was sold out by July.
How the heck is it so simple for this dude? This is getting me angry. There is no struggle for this dude. He was like, I'm gonna do this. Successful partnership. The coach accepted working with him. The shoes are really, really nice. He didn't have to look into it at all. And he sold out just like that.
In their first year, BRS sold $8,000 worth of shoes, and with that money, Phil started hiring salesmen for his company. In 1965, their revenue had increased to $20,000, and pretty soon, they opened their very own store in Santa Monica. But while Phil was handling the business side of the operation, the actual innovation was coming from Bill. He was the guy who single-handedly brought jogging to America. In 1966, he wrote
He is a link to the dude who pretty much brought jogging to America. This just seems like absolute luck to me. Like, the stars aligned and he didn't have to work that hard at all. I'm so jealous right now. I'm so angry at this. I hate this so much.
that sold over 1 million copies. And of course, his company was among the first to start marketing the Tiger shoes for jogging. Bowerman was all about innovation, and with every new shipment from Onitsuka, he'd cut open a few shoes to see how they were made, and he'd always try to improve them, by for example, adding to the cushion or using more lightweight materials. He'd constantly
Okay, yeah, that's cool. Yeah, it's cool to always improve. That's how you build a business. Because if you don't change, if you don't improve, you're gonna fall into the ground and disappear.
Recently sent his notes to Japan requesting changes. He was effectively designing Onitsuka's shoes for them. It was one of Bill's designs that catapulted BRS into the mainstream. The Cortez, as he called it, became one of the best-selling shoes in 1968. Undoubtedly thanks to the 19...
There's something weird about that shoe, but I don't know anything about sports, so I can't really judge the shoe.
1968 Olympics, held in Mexico. Thanks to the Cortez, BRS sold $300,000 worth of shoes in 1969.
Oh my gosh. This is too easy. Maybe it's just because this is an 8-minute video, but this just seems like it all just worked out. Like, nothing failed.
But they had a big problem. The Cortez was so successful that they couldn't keep up with the demand.
Their problem is that they can't keep up because they're so successful. Oh my gosh, they are living the dream, aren't they?
Every new shipment they received sold out faster than the one before, but Onitsuka kept sending them at the same glacial pace. What Onitsuka were actually doing was satisfying their local demand in Japan first, and then sending whatever was left to America. Phil and Bill knew that to expand, they would have to evolve beyond being just a simple distributor. Then they realized that they held all the cards. The Cortez was Bowerman's design, so as soon as their contract with Onitsuka expired, they were free to start making it for themselves. Luckily for them, their contract would end in 1972, just before the Olympics.
Luckily for them. It's all just so lucky. Oh my gosh.
Thus, Phil had plenty of time to prepare for his big move.
That's just dandy.
In 1971, he started working on the branding. His first employee suggested calling the brand Nike, after the Greek goddess of victory. Then Phil...
I did not know that it was named after a Greek goddess of victory. That's kind of cool.
Phil needed a logo, so he went to a nearby university, snatched the first graphic design student he could find, and told her to make him a logo.
Okay. He didn't even, like, look into the students they had, like, the top one of the class or anything. They were like, you! Over there! Can you make me a logo? Cool, I'll pay you.
Sum of $35, he got this. The swoosh. In hindsight, that was money well spent. And with his branding now complete, Phil was ready for the Olympics.
Wow, $35 for that. I know, it's like such a huge logo.
This time, instead of locking himself into exclusive agreements, Phil established a network of subcontractors across Japan. With production under his control, Phil could finally spread his wings. You can see in this graph of Nike's sales exactly when Phil started importing shoes from his Japanese subcontractors. And yes, he started before his contract had even expired, in 1971. From then on, the story of Nike became one of growth. They became the largest sportswear company in America in 1989, on the back of brilliant marketing like the Just Do It campaign, and by signing rookie athletes that would eventually become famous across the world.
Yeah, that definitely affected Nike.
The ascent of Nike is a story every bit as interesting as the early days of Phil Knight. But don't take my word for it. Phil Knight himself released his autobiography in 2016, and you can listen to it for free as part of your 30-day...
Okay, we don't need to hear your sponsorship again. I got nothing to say. I am just aggravated at how easy that sounded for Phil Knight. So, congratulations, Phil. You won. You were dealt a good hand. Okay, I'm gonna go now. If you like this video, please be sure to hit that like button, and I will see y'all next time.